I'm picking every game against the spread and giving fantasy outlooks. Last year, I was on fire! 152 to 120, finishing the 95th percentile on ESPN. But I have been ice cold to start this year. I'm currently 0-2, but we're about to turn that around. It's been pretty weird to start the year. The Eagles lost 2 players before the game even really got going, and the Chiefs lost another receiver to friendly fire. But it is what it is. Time to dominate the Sunday slate. Jeffrey, kick us off.
Yes, sir. Buccaneers at the Falcons on Sunday at 1 Eastern. The Bucs are favoured by 1.5 and the total is 47.5. It's indoors at Mercedes-Benz.
Nice. So weather's not an issue? Any injuries I need to worry about?
Yes, sir. For Tampa Bay, Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs are out. Vita Vea is questionable.
I knew that Chris Godwin and Wirfs would be out. Didn't know about the Vita Vea one. That makes me a little nervous. All right, what about the Falcons? Anybody there?
For Atlanta, Jack Nelson and DeMarco Hellams are out. Darnell Mooney is questionable.
Yeah, his situation's been pretty weird. All right, I think that's enough. Let's talk about this game. Buccaneers favored by 1.5 on the road against a divisional rival. I like that it's less than 3. 3 would have made me a little nervous, but I gotta go with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this one. Starting off the year, yes, we don't have one of our offensive linemen and Chris Godwin, but I think that we should be able to come out on top on this one. Falcons are also missing an offensive lineman. Let's move on to the fantasy outlook. The fantasy outlooks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're starting Baker Mayfield. This guy's gonna sling it in a game that you're not afraid of. The Falcons are soft against quarterbacks. And this is the 3rd highest over-under on the week with 47 points. I want players in this game. As for running backs, I separate them into 4 different categories. Must start, solid start, flex, and questionable flex. Bucky Irving is obviously a must start. Top 10 play. It's not the best matchup, but you're starting Bucky Irving, let's be real, let's be honest. Rachaad White comes in at a questionable flex. I can't think of a situation where you're going to need to start him. Honestly, it's the first game of the year. You should have a running back to start over him. For wide receivers, Mike Evans is an obvious must start. Drafted him in your top 2 rounds. He's one of them dudes. Obviously, you're starting him. Emeka Egbuka joins my flex start. I do think that he's going to be a solid flex this week. Not concerned about the matchup. I think he's going to be fine. With Chris Godwin out, they need another number 2. I think Emeka Egbuka is going to come in and do work, especially with Jalen McMillan also out. You're probably not starting Cade Otton, but I do think that he is going to have an okay game. They need pass catchers. And the 3rd highest over-under, I can see him getting a little bit of work. And you're obviously starting the kicker. Might pass on the defense. Fantasy outlook for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not starting Michael Penix this week. I got him ranked in the 20s. I can't see a situation where it's like, you gotta start him, unless you're in like a 20-person league. Drake London falls into my must-start category. Obviously, he's an elite wide receiver. Don't really need to dive too into that. It's also a good matchup. I like it. It's the 3rd highest scoring game of the week. Darnell Mooney's making me a little nervous. He's questionable. Haven't seen him on the field very much. That's why he falls into the questionable flex situation. Honestly, I got him around 60. Bijan Robinson is obviously a must start in this game. I don't really need to dive too far into that. He was a top 5 pick. Tyler Algier is a questionable flex. You're probably not starting him in 99% of situations. And I feel like I'm being polite even putting him on the list. He's a backup. And Kyle Pitts is going to be mid because I think this is a high over-under and he could be involved. He did ball out against the Bucs last year. I do recall that. I think that ball got knocked out of his hands before he went over the plane, but whatever. That's last year's problem. All right, Jeffrey, on to the next game.
Yes, sir. Bengals at the Browns. 1 Eastern. Bengals minus 5.5.
5.5, solid points. Over-under?
Total 48.5. This is up from 44.5.
Okay, looks like we got some line movement. Vegas is seeing some more points being scored. I like it, I like it. Probably because Joe Flacco's the starter now. Jeffrey, any weather I need to be concerned about?
Light rain early with 14-mile-an-hour breeze.
Okay, not too bad. Little bit of rain, little bit of wind. Affects the deep shots a little bit, but not too much. All right. Any major injuries I need to be worried about?
There are no major injury designations.
Cool. Perfect. All right, time to predict this game. The Bengals are favored by 5.5. If this was any other quarterback playing for the Cleveland Browns, I'd probably pick the Cincinnati Bengals. But I think Joe Flacco's going to sling it. I think they're going to be down and they got nothing to lose. Plus, the Bengals have a bad defense. Joe Flacco might be able to get a little bit of something done. And the Browns defense is good. Give me the Browns, plus 5.5. Fantasy football outlook for the Cleveland Browns. I don't know a situation where you're going to have to start Joe Flacco, but I do think that he's going to sling it. Quinshon Judkins just signed, but I don't know if he's going to play. Hasn't been with the team. My assumption is he doesn't play. And if he doesn't play, I think Jerome Ford is a flex play. It's the second highest over-under of the week at 48.5. The Bengals are mid against the running back position at best. And give me the old guy Jerome Ford as a flex play. Dylan Sampson comes in as a questionable flex because I have no idea how much work he's going to get or what the split's going to be between them. I just trust Jerome Ford a little bit more because he's been there longer. Jerry Jeudy comes through as a flex play. Like I said, Joe Flacco's going to sling it. And Cedric Tillman comes in at a questionable flex play. I like the upside of this kid. He looks great last year. And with Joe Flacco, a quarterback that's going to throw the ball, he can get some work. David Njoku is obviously a must start. I think he balls out with Joe Flacco. Him and Flacco seem to have a connection. And I'm avoiding the defense and kicker. Cincinnati Bengals fantasy outlook. You're obviously starting Joe Burrow. He's elite. Chase Brown falls into my must start category. For wide receivers, obviously Jamar Chase is a must start every week. T. Higgins is also a must start this week. I'm not afraid of the Cleveland Browns pass defense. Both of these guys are incredible receivers. I think you could play their defense and their kicker as well. Definitely the kicker. I had to pause this because I broke my chair. And no, not just because I am fat, though I think that slightly has something to do with it. It was the arm of the chair. It broke off. I tried to put it back. It wasn't happening. I'm behind schedule. It can wait. Also, the original plan was to throw that, but I just realized it was heavier than I thought and metal, so I dropped it down. All right, back to your regularly scheduled programming. All right, Jeffrey, take me to the next game, please.
Yes, sir. Dolphins at the Colts at 1 on CBS Colts minus a half point.
Okay, basically a pick 'em. What's the over-under?
Total 46.5. This one's in the dome, so there are no weather concerns.
Excellent, excellent. Love the dome. Any injuries I need to be concerned about?
Dolphins, Jalen Wright and Darren Waller are out.
I can deal with that. Haven't seen Waller in forever anyways. Give me the Dolphins in this one. It's a coin flip. Big a pick 'em on the road. Vegas likes the Dolphins more than they like the Colts, but a slight edge for the win to the Colts. They're facing a team that objectively speaking is not good. I expect the Dolphins to win against the bad teams and lose against the good teams. It's kind of their thing. Also in the cold. It's in a dome. Maybe chilly, but not that cold. Fantasy outlook for the Miami Dolphins. I doubt anybody drafted Tua, but I do think he has a solid game. It's the third highest over-under. I think he slings it. Von Achane is an obvious must start. You drafted him high for a reason. Also, the matchup's not too bad. Tyreek Hill is a must start for me. A matchup that doesn't scare me. At the beginning of the year, he pops off. I got Jalen Waddle as a flex. I also think that he's going to be better than people expect. Last year was a down year. I think he bounces back a little better this year. Solid flex with upside. And a third highest scoring game of the week. That's it for starts for the Dolphins. Fantasy outlook for the Indianapolis Colts. No one's starting Daniel Jones, but it wouldn't surprise me if he had an okay game. He does run the ball. Jonathan Taylor falls into that must start category. He's an elite running back. Gotta have him. Love the high over-under. I view both Michael Pittman Jr. and Joshua Downs as questionable flexes. I don't know what to expect out of Daniel Jones. Is he gonna be competent? Maybe. I do think the Colts offense will be better than we think. I just don't know which one it's gonna be, honestly. And start Tyler Warren. They have proven that they really like him, and I think that he gets the targets. Jeffrey, on to my next game, please.
Yes, sir. Raiders at the Patriots at 1 on CBS Patriots minus 3.5.
Nice. Surprised that they're 3.5 point favorites. I know they're at home, but still. What's the over-under?
Total 44.5.
That's not great. That's pretty average. Any weather concerns?
Cool with steady rain and light wind.
Not too bad. I wouldn't like to be out in it, but for a football player standpoint, it's gonna rain about half the time, 63 degrees. Wind is low, so I'm really not too concerned about that. Might be a little sloppy. Any major injuries I need to look out for, Jeffrey? Especially ones that'll affect fantasy football?
No injuries for the Raiders, but Christian Gonzalez is out for the Patriots.
Ooh, no! Christian Gonzalez is good! PFF really liked him last year. Oh, that helps the Raiders. Yeah. Plus 3.5. Give me the Raiders in this one. I like that they're getting more than a field goal. Patriots are also banged up, just with the cornerback, but still. I also think this Raiders team is a lot better than they used to be. Really excited to see this game. Fantasy outlook for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Geno Smith is going to be an upgrade to the previous quarterback, but I'm not really trying to start him week 1 of the fantasy football season. I'm excited to see what he can do for the offense, though. Ashton Genty obviously falls in the must-start category. You didn't draft him in the first or second round for no reason. Jacoby Myers is a flex play, especially now that Amari Cooper's gone. Not that Amari Cooper was going to do anything, but he would have taken targets away. I'm also not afraid of the rookie, Jack Besh. They haven't really gotten him much involved. I am a watch and see what's going on with Deontay Thornton, though. I've been watching that kid, and he looks good. So I'm not starting him by any means, but I'm definitely watching him. I did pick him up in a league or two as well. And obviously you're starting Brock Bowers. You didn't draft him in the first, second round for no reason. Fantasy football outlook for the New England Patriots. I think you can start Drake May. He should be a fine start in this one. I think he's going to get some work done with his legs. And I like that they're at home. Travion Henderson I have as a solid start. I don't think he's going to get all the work, but I do think he's going to get passing down work as well as some carries. Curious to see how they use him in the goal line, but I think that he'll be very involved. They don't have a lot of playmakers, so I think they're going to need to utilize the kid. But to start the season, I think people are going to be upset how often Ramondre Stevenson's going to be involved. Until he starts fumbling it, I do think that Ramondre Stevenson will get some work. How much work? That's why we play the game. We'll see. I'm definitely monitoring who gets what touches and how many, who gets more snaps. That's one of the things I'm looking out for this week. I have Stephon Diggs down as a questionable flex. I do not know what to expect from him. Is he going to be on a pitch count? Is he the old Stephon Diggs? Yes, he's looked good in the practices, but this is a real game with real people trying to hit you. So I'm very curious to see the snaps, the targets. That's why he's a little questionable for me. I can see him moving up in future weeks, but I'm a little cautious in week 1. You most likely didn't draft him, that you have to start him this week. So, I mean, heck, I got a league where I started Keenan Allen yesterday. So if you do, I get it, but you're probably not in that situation. I'm also a wait and see on Demario Douglas and Kyle Williams. I think that both of them or either of them could be utilized, but I'm not sure which one. You're not starting them this week, but I am keeping an eye out for him. And I think you can start Hunter Henry this week. Honestly, I'm starting him over Colston Loveland, who I drafted in my draft. I was like, I'm a little nervous about the rookie, so let me go take a veteran that I think gets targets. Let's see how that goes. Jeffrey, take me to my next game, please.
Yes, sir. Cardinals at the Saints. 1 Eastern on CBS, Cardinals -3.5.
3.5 is a decent amount, and I think the spread's gone up since this line hit. Jeffrey, what's the over-under on this one?
Total 43.5. Played indoors at the Superdome.
43.5. That's not good. And it's in a dome, so no weather concerns. Okay, I think I'm ready to pick this game. Give me the Arizona Cardinals in this one, -3.5. I just think they're a much better team. The Saints are gonna be awful this year. I mean, when I predicted how many games they'd win, I think I got them at like 2. Even if they got 3 or 4, this ain't gonna be one of them. I expect it now. All right, let's talk some fantasy. Fantasy football outlook for the New Orleans Saints. I'm not going to get into Spencer Rattler. You obviously are not starting him. Alvin Kamara falls into my solid start range. Alvin Kamara is going to get targets, and he's one of the 2 bright spots on this offense. I think he gets work. Solid start. Chris Olave falls into my flex category. Olave could be good. He's going to get a decent amount of volume because they don't have many receivers there. He's got to stay healthy, and we're starting the year off, so he's healthy for now, and the quarterback is not good, but I think volume is what would get him there. Starting him off at flex. Raheed Shaheed is a questionable flex. I don't know what to expect from Spencer Rattler other than they're going to be down, so maybe he slings it, sends it downfield, and Rashid Raheed catches a deep one. I'm honestly not overly excited about it. Let me move him over here. He's in the 50s. Oh, by the way, these are just the groups. These are not in order. These are just the groups. That'll do for New Orleans. Fantasy outlook for the Arizona Cardinals. I think you can start Kyler Murray. They're a favorite in this matchup, and I think he uses his legs more. James Conner comes in as a solid start. They have the 5th highest implied point total at 25, so I think they're going to be running the ball. Give me some James Conner. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a solid start. I'm not afraid of this defense. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has a better year this year than he's had in previous years. Fire him up. And of course, you're starting Trey McBride. He's elite. Do I need to say any more? All right, Jeffrey, take me to my next matchup.
Yes, sir. Steelers at the Jets at 1 p.m. Eastern. Steelers -2.5.
Jeffrey, these are 2 defensive juggernauts. What is the over-under for this?
The total is 38.
Ugh, that's not good. That's low. I mean, they're not even gonna score 20 points each? Oh my God. All right, tell me we at least have good weather.
Showers early, then clearing with light winds.
Okay, I can deal with that. A little bit of rain won't be too bad. I don't need a sloppy, low-scoring game. All right, let's get over to the game. Give me the Steelers in this one. Both defenses are good, but one's a veteran quarterback against a younger, just less experienced guy. Aaron Rodgers has seen all the defenses. Whether or not he's fast enough to move to get away from the people is a whole different story, but he can at least check and make some changes. That Steelers defense is going to be all over Justin Fields. But if Justin Fields can use his legs, might be able to stand a couple plays. At the end of the day, give me Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Aaron, you cannot lose this game to the Jets. Y'all swapped teams, and your first game on the Steelers with an incredible defense. You got to get the dub, dog. You got to get the dub. All right, now that we've picked the game, let's talk fantasy. The Steelers fantasy football outlook, I'm not starting Aaron Rodgers, and neither are you, let's be real. With a 38 over-under? Absolutely not. Jaylen Warren falls into my flex category. I'm not overly excited to start him, but I do think that he will be the guy for the most part. It's going to be split work. This week, I definitely want to see who gets more snaps, when they're getting these snaps / touches. Right now, Jaylen Warren's a solid flex play. Don't like the low over-under, though. Caleb Johnson is a questionable flex for me. I'd prefer to wait and see what he's going to do. It's a low-scoring game against a tough defense, and he's not projected to be the person that gets majority of the touches. I would prefer not to have to play him and wait and see until next week, honestly. It's not like he's unplayable. He's just in like the 30s and 40s. Hey, you never know. They may want to get the kid to fall into the end zone, but I wouldn't count on it. I just made a pivot on DK Metcalf on the fly. Looking at this, I had him at solid start, and I really think that he's on the fringe of solid start and flex but yes, I do think that he's going to be the main wide receiver, obviously. I don't like that it's raining. I don't like that it's a low scoring game. I mean, we're 38 points over under. That's terrible. And on top of all of that, Sauce Gardner's going to be guarding him, and he's probably going to shadow him. And Sauce Gardner's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. I doubt you're in a situation where you can sit DK Metcalf, so you're probably starting him. I just am not expecting a bunch of upside. Vegas doesn't think a lot of points are going to be scored, and we think he's going to have a terrible matchup. Not overly excited about that, to be honest with you. You can definitely start the Steelers defense against Justin Fields, for sure. Fantasy outlook for the New York Jets. Justin Fields is a fringe starter. I think if you need to start him, you can. It's not a good matchup at all. Steelers are great against the quarterback, but he might get you some work with his legs. I have Breece Hall as a solid start. It's not a great matchup, but I do think that he should get a decent amount of work. Though I know he's going to split it with Braylon Allen, so he's fringe. He's solid start, fringe flex. But I'm going to leave him as solid start for now, for respect purposes, but he fringe flex. I have Garrett Wilson as a solid start. Getting close to flex, but solid start. I'm going to leave him there for now. He's fringe, just like Breece. He fringe. But I'm going to give him a solid start because I think he's going to get the targets. He has to. Who else are they going to throw the ball to? Honestly, I feel pretty similar to him as I do to DK Metcalf. I just think that he's a little better than DK. Yeah, I'm not overly excited about either of them, to be honest with you. The tight ends are a wait and see, and I think you can start the defense on this team. They're going up against Aaron Rodgers. He won't really be moving that much. Plus, the over-under is super low, so should be solid. Jeffrey, take me to my next matchup, please.
Yes, sir. Giants at the Commanders. 1 p.m. Eastern on FOX. Washington -6.5.
That's a big spread for a divisional rival. I mean, Washington is good, but Giants got a good defense. All right. Before I decide, Jeffrey, what's the over-under on this one?
Total 45.5.
That's okay. All right, I think I'm ready to pick. Give me the Giants in this one. 6.5 points is a lot of points for a divisional rival, as you saw from that Philadelphia Eagles game. And I think the Giants defense is really good. So as long as Russ can be competent and Neighbors plays, give me the Giants in this one to keep it close-ish. Like 6.5 is a decent amount of points. All right, let's go over the fantasy outlook for this. We'll start with the Giants. Fantasy outlook for the New York Giants. We're not starting Russell Wilson. It's a bad matchup, but on top of all that, we're not in the situation where we need to start Russ. I am hoping that he plays well, though, to be honest with you. I have Tyrone Tracy as a flex play. The team has indicated that he's going to be the guy, at least for now, so I throw him in the flex. Not a terrifying matchup, so I think he should be fine. Cam Scatterboo is in the questionable flex because I just don't know the situation. I'm not sure how they want to use him. I personally love me some Cam Scatterboo. I just don't know what kind of work he's going to get. It is a negative game script, so I'm thinking that he gets some pass catching, but we'll see. Questionable flex at this point. I'm rooting for you, Cam. Malik Neighbors is a must start. Obviously, I really don't even need to get into this. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. Yes, he's been banged up, but if he plays, you play him. I'm throwing Wan'Dale Robinson into the questionable flex because I just think that they're gonna sling it and they gotta throw it to somebody that's not just Malik Neighbors, right? Wan'Dale got a bunch of targets last year that people weren't expecting him to get. Questionable flex. And I'm not starting their tight end, defense, or kicker, but I will keep a lookout for their tight end, Theo Johnson. Moving on to the Commanders. Washington Commanders fantasy outlook. You're obviously starting Jaden Daniels. He's a top 5 quarterback. I mean, what else do I need to say about the kid? He's incredible. He runs the ball, throws the ball. They're 6.5 point favorites. How do you think they get there? I have Austin Eckler in as a flex play. I think now that Brian Robinson Jr. is gone, he's going to be the main guy, but I do think that they're going to split it. It's going to be a committee. Speaking of a committee, Jacoby Crosby-Merritt, aka Bill, it's a questionable flex. I don't know what we should expect from him. I know that they're going to be splitting work. Austin Eckler's going to get work. He's going to get work. Chris Rodriguez is going to get work. I personally am not trying to start him because I like to see players play well that are questionable starts. Ashton Jeanty, you're obviously starting him. I like to see Jacoby play before I just throw Bill in there. All right, moving to wide receivers. Terry McLaurin is a solid start. I'm not really afraid of the New York Giants defense. I think that he should be fine. My only worry is I didn't like that he didn't practice for long periods of time before the game. He's older. I'm hoping he doesn't get like a soft tissue injury, but as of right now, he's good. I'm not trying to jinx him. I just know I'm an old dude. I can't just get up and play basketball. You gotta stretch and stuff. He playing full speed football with young bucks. I have Deebo Samuel as a questionable flex. I'm just not sure what to expect. I am optimistic. I think that he should be fine, but new offense, haven't seen him in it. I think that drops him into the questionable flex situation. He's one of the better of the questionable flexes, but I don't know how they're going to utilize him, to be honest with you. Zach Ertz is a solid desperation play, and you can play the defense and kicker for Washington. All right, Jeffrey, on to my next game.
Yes, sir. Panthers at the Jaguars at 1 p.m. Eastern. Jags minus 2.5 points.
2.5 points. That tells me Vegas thinks this is pretty even, which I don't necessarily disagree. All right, Jeffrey, what's the over-under?
Total 46.5.
6th highest over-under of the week. That's okay, I guess. We're talking about Florida outside. Is there any weather concerns I need to worry about?
Hot and humid with about a 50% chance of showers.
Okay, so it's going to rain, but the winds aren't too high. We're looking at 10 through 12. I'm not too worried about that. That's solid. A little sloppy, but not too bad. It's looking like it's going to rain the whole game, though. All right, I think I'm ready to pick. Give me the Jaguars in this one. I'm more confident in the offense. Both previous number 1 picks going head to head. I just think the Jaguars are a little better and they're at home. Look for the Panthers to be better than they were last year, but I think the Jaguars are taking a step forward this year. All right, let's talk fantasy. The fantasy outlook for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think you can start Trevor Lawrence. The Panthers don't scare you. I like that he has multiple weapons in the receiving game, and Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. And I think he can dump it down to his running backs. I have Travis Etienne as a flex play. I'm giving him the nod just because I think that he's the most likely to get the work, but I think that this is going to be a hot hand situation. It can go either way, but right now I have him as a flex. Tank Bigsby I have as a questionable flex. I think that it's a hot hand, so whoever is better at the time, I think gets more work. This one can go either way. Brian Thomas Jr. is obviously a must start. You drafted him in the first 2 rounds for a reason. He was elite last year. He'll be elite this year. Travis Hunter I have as a flex play. It's not a bad matchup at all. It's actually a good matchup. And I expect the team to want to show out. They traded a lot of capital to get Travis Hunter. So I think that they're going to utilize him. My only issue with Travis Hunter is the injuries. I'm concerned with him playing both sides of the ball. Not that whether or not he's talented enough to do it, it's whether or not his body can hold up. This is NFL football. Playing snaps on both sides of the ball for the entire game is a lot for anybody to do. And I'm concerned about how many hits he's going to take and give. not concerned with him playing early. This is the first game of the season. They got a shiny new toy. They're about to use him. I think he's gonna be a nice flex play. We're not starting tight end Britton Strange, but I'm looking out for him. Not really into the defense either. The kicker's solid. You might be able to use him though. Fantasy football outlook for the Carolina Panthers. I'm not starting Bryce Young, but I do think that he has a solid game. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense doesn't scare you almost at all. I think that this is a higher scoring game. It's the 6th highest over under of the week. Chuba Hubbard is a solid start going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, previously one of the worst run defenses in the league. He should be able to run all over them. Rico Dowdle falls into that questionable flex situation. It's a good matchup, so I could see him getting a little bit of work, but hopefully you don't have to start him. I think it's more gonna be spelling Hubbard, also a little bit of receiving work. Moving on to the receivers. I have Teteroa McMillan under solid start. I think you can definitely start him. I think that this is a great matchup. The Jacksonville Jaguars are not good against the receiver, and I think it's gonna be a decently high scoring game. And Bryce Young has proven that he wants to throw it to Tet McMillan. So give me the number 1. Yeah, let's go. Xavier Legette is a questionable flex play. I can't see you needing to start him. He's probably a nice bench warrior. You put him on your bench and see if he does anything. Jalen Coker's out. Adam Thielen's gone. They are going to have to throw the ball. Xavier Legette could get some work, but he's more of a questionable flex for me. All right, Jeffrey, on to the next team, please.
Yes, sir. Titans at the Broncos. 4:05 Eastern on Fox. Broncos minus 6.5.
That's a pretty good spread, but I get it. That defense is fierce. What's the over-under?
Total 42.5.
It's a solid implied total for Denver at 25.5, but not great for Tennessee. Any major injuries to look out for?
Titans, L'Jarius Sneed is questionable, and Broncos, Dre Greenlaw and Malcolm Roach is out.
Not good. Sneed makes things a bit interesting. I'll get into that one in a minute. All right, I think I'm ready to pick this one. Give me the Broncos at minus 6.5. They're at home. They're an incredible defense, and they're facing a rookie quarterback. They got the advantage. All right, let's talk fantasy. Start with the Titans. We're not starting Cam Ward. He's a rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick. I'm excited for him, but you're obviously not starting him week 1. Tony Pollard's coming in as a solid start. Not a good matchup at all going up against the Denver Broncos, but I think he gets enough work to where he'll be a solid start. Calvin Ridley, I'm more excited about him for the year than I am for this week. I do not like this matchup. Going up against Denver, but more importantly, Pat Surtain, one of the best cornerbacks, if not the best corner in the league. Calvin Ridley could have a really tough day. I got him in as a flex play, a low-end flex play at that, to be honest with you. I'm not starting anyone else for this team, so let's head to the Broncos. Fantasy football outlook for the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix is a fantastic start going up against Tennessee. They don't scare you. Their implied point total is 25.5. That's 4th most this week. I like that. That defense is probably going to get a takeaway or two, so you'll have plus matchups. I have both RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins both as flex plays. I'm going to be watching to see how the snaps go, who gets touches where, but I think both of them can be played as some flex. Cortland Sutton is a solid start this week. L'Jarius Sneed is questionable. If L'Jarius Sneed misses this week, I think that it helps Cortland Sutton. Sneed is a good cornerback, and I think Cortland Sutton could be pretty good if he's not being followed. Now, the Titans are great against the wide receiver position, but if Sneed is out, I do think that helps. Got him as a low-end wide receiver too. Also, you're starting Evan Ingram. I'm curious what happens with Pat Bryant and Marvin Mims. Heck, I'm even curious what happens with Troy Franklin. You definitely start the defense and kicker for this team. They are going to have a fantastic day. All right, Jeffrey, on to my next game.
Yes, sir. 49ers at the Seahawks. 4:05 Eastern on Fox. Niners minus 1.5.
1.5. That's pretty close. Divisional matchup. They're on the road. Makes sense. Jeffrey, what's the over-under?
The total is 43.5.
That's not too high. All right, Jeffrey, what's the weather like? Seattle is normally kind of rainy, ain't it?
Yes, sir. Showers likely with a light south wind.
The wind doesn't bother me. The rain is fine. It's not crazy. We can deal with that. I know there's an injury I need to know about for this one.
Christian McCaffrey is questionable.
Already? Come on. You were the chosen one. You were supposed to lead us from the darkness. Oh, this is rough. All right, Jeffrey, I think I'm ready to pick now. I'm going with the 49ers if Christian McCaffrey plays. If you find out that Christian McCaffrey's not playing, Seahawks are taking this one down. CMC is the engine of this team. And it's unfortunate because they play at 4:05, so you're gonna have to have a backup. Fantasy football outlook for the 49ers. Brock Purdy is startable, preferably if Christian McCaffrey is there, but it's at 4, so you're not gonna know. Also, I'm not overly excited for it. Divisional matchup, not a high over-under. Not a big fan. So this one's tricky. If Christian McCaffrey starts, I personally am starting him. If you don't want to deal with it, I get if you don't want to start him, but his game is at 4:05. You have to have a backup. First off, he should be in your flex regardless if most of your players go at 1 because he plays at 4. You need some flexibility on this one. So right now, I'm assuming he plays. If he's still questionable on Sunday morning, he's no longer a must start. He's a solid start because he's questionable. We don't know if he's in. If he's in, I'm playing him. But if he's not, it's gonna hurt because it's 4 o'clock, week 1. This is absolutely brutal. And if he doesn't play, Brian Robinson Jr. immediately becomes a flex to low-end solid start. If he's by himself, well, not by himself, because Isaac Grindo should still be there as well. But Brian Robinson's gonna be the guy. As of right now, throw him down here into questionable starts. And I'm assuming CMC plays, so he's a must start. If he's still questionable tomorrow morning, he's a solid start, because I can't blame you if you don't have another option, you can't play him. Man, week 1, Christian, come on. Ricky Pearsall is a flex play this week. I think he's gonna be the number 1. I'm not overly confident about Juwan Jennings. Not scared of the matchup. And they're gonna have to throw it to somebody other than George Kittle. Juwan Jennings is a questionable flex play. I'm nervous about his injury. Was it real? Was it contract? It makes it a little more murky. I have him in a league. I'm sitting him. But to be fair, he was like my wide receiver 5, so I have a bunch of options. You obviously start George Kittle every single week, and you can play the defense as well. All right, let's talk about the home team. The fantasy outlook for the Seattle Seahawks. We're not starting Sam Darnold, let's be real. You didn't draft him for that. Kenneth Walker is a solid start this week. San Francisco 49ers have lost some people on defense, and they're not as scary as they used to be. Zach Charbonnet is a questionable flex on the high end. I do think that he gets some work, but we don't know what the split is yet. Jackson Smith and Jigba is a must start. You drafted him high for a reason. I'm very curious to see what he looks like as a number 1. Now that DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are gone. I have Cooper Kupp as a flex play. I'm very, very curious to see how this week goes. A lot of people have him much lower than I do. I personally think that Cooper Kupp's gonna have a solid year. He hasn't been great at man coverage recently, but I also think he's not gonna get the number 1 cornerback anymore. He'll get the number 2 cornerback, which will be a little easier. Plus, I still think he eats up on zone. We'll see. Got him as a flex play this week. And that's it for starting Seattle Seahawks. All right, Jeffrey, take me to my next matchup.
Yes, sir. Lions at the Packers. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Lions -0.5 point.
Okay, so this is basically a pick'em. Jeffrey, what's the over-under for this matchup?
The total is 47.5.
Okay, that's actually a pretty high total. I like that. Any notable players that I need to know about being questionable this week?
The Packers have a long list questionable. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Savion Williams, and Micah Parsons.
Oh, I forgot about Micah. Jaden Reed's got that Liz Frank injury, so I'm real iffy on him. But Micah Parsons had the back that was real, but kind of not real, but kind of real, I guess. I heard something about him possibly getting a shot before the game. I think he's probably going to play. Give me the Packers in this one. I just think the Packers are at home, new wide receiver, hopefully Micah Parsons, and the Lions just have a bunch of question marks. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new weapons they're trying to integrate. Let's go to the fantasy points. Detroit Lions fantasy outlook for this week. I'm not trying to start Jared Goff this week. I think the Green Bay Packers defense is good, and Jared Goff plays best when he's not being pressured, and if Micah Parsons played, he'll be under some pressure. Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously a must start. I don't need to go into much detail with that. He's a top 5 running back in the league, yada, yada, yada. I have David Montgomery as a flex play. I still think he gets involved. Solid matchup, but with Micah Parsons, I think that it could get a little more interesting, but I just think that they really like using him. That being said, new offensive coordinator. I'm curious to see what the split's like. I will be monitoring that. That is one of the things I will be looking out for. Is it going to lean more Jahmyr Gibbs, or is it going to be split like it was before? Who gets the first drive? That used to be Davis' job. We'll see if it continues. Moving the wide receiver. Amon-Ra St. Brown is obviously a must start. I don't really need to get too far into that. He's elite. start him. Jamison Williams is the flex play. This is a tough defense against wide receivers, but he can always break a long one, and I think he's going to be more involved this year than he has been in previous years. Coach has been talking him up. I think you can play him as a flex. You're obviously starting Sam Laporta as well. Let's move over to the Green Bay Packers. You can start Jordan Love. He's got a bunch of weapons, and I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Third highest over-under of the week with 47.5. Josh Jacobs is an obvious must start. You drafted him in the second round for a reason. Touchdown hawk, good on the ground. Moving over to the wide receivers, just a bunch of questionable starts. Matthew Golden, questionable start. Romeo Doubs, questionable start. Jaden Reed, deep questionable, concerning start. Leaning towards not starting. He's actually questionable with the Liz Frank injury. I would lean away until we figure out how he plays. And you can start Tucker Kraft. He's a good tight end. All right, on to the next matchup. No. Full transparency. I just recorded this whole game and didn't press record. Awesome. Jeffrey, I am now in a bit of a rush. I'm going to be taking it from here.
I understand, sir. Call me if you need me.
We're going to do this one quick because I spent who knows how long on these last games. So I need to get this out. Texans at Rams. Rams are 2.5-point favorites. Give me the Rams in this one. Both have good defenses. Texans defense is better, but their offensive line is worse. I think the Rams take it down at home. Matthew Stafford needs to stack up wins before his back gives out. Let's talk fantasy. Fantasy outlook for the Houston Texans. I'm not starting CJ Stroud. You didn't draft him high enough to start him, and it's not the worst matchup in the world. I just don't have him in my top 15. Both Nick Chubb and Dameon Pierce are low-end questionable flexes. I have no idea how this backfield is going to be broken down, but they got to split the work somehow. I wouldn't start them unless I had to. Heck, I also think Woody Marks gets involved. Moving on to wide receiver. Nico Collins is obviously a must start. He's in every lineup. You drafted him in the first 2 rounds for a reason. He's a beast. With Christian Kirk out, you can start Jayden Reed as a questionable flex. Low end, I prefer to wait and see, but I do think that he's going to be the wide receiver 2 on this team right now. Jalen Noel is also somebody I would look out for. I'm curious to see how he's going to do this week. You can also play the defense and kicker. Moving on to the LA Rams. Fantasy football outlook for the LA Rams. I'm not starting Matthew Stafford against a really good Houston Texas defense in week 1. Odds are you didn't draft him to start him. Also, he has a bad back. I'm concerned. Kyren Williams is a solid start on the edge of must start. I just don't have him in my top 12, but I think he's a good running back that's going to get goal line carries. Let's be real. You're going to start Kyren Williams. I have Kyren Williams. I'm going to start him too, but the Houston Texans run defense is really good, so I am a little nervous about it, but I'm starting him. Moving to wide receivers. Puka Nacua is an absolute beast. You drafted him in the first 2 rounds for a reason. You're starting him. Devontae Adams is a solid start. I think that it's going to be interesting to see what the split looks like. I think that he's going to lean more towards touchdowns, Puka towards receiving, but a must start and a solid start in the same receiving core, I think his offense is going to be pretty good. You can also start the defense for the Rams. The Houston's offensive line, not very good. Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are 1.5-point favorites. Give me the Ravens in this one. I'll take the 1.5 points. Yes, I know it's in Buffalo, but I think the Ravens get their get back from losing last year. I think that this is regular season. Lamar Jackson gonna put on a show. This game's at 8:20 p.m. What a way to cap off the first football Sunday with 2 Titans going at it. Love it. All right, let's talk fantasy. Starting with the away team. Fantasy football outlook for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, you're obviously starting him. He's a must start every week. You pretty much booked that for the next 16 weeks. Derrick Henry's a must start every time he's healthy. Zay Flowers is a flex play. I do think that there is going to be a lot of points scored. It's the highest over-under on the week, 50.5 points. I think that Zay Flowers is a flex this week. If you can't start him in this one, I don't know when you're going to be able to start him. Highest scoring over-under of the week. I have Rashad Bateman as a questionable flex because, again, high-scoring game. He could get a long ball. Scored 9 touchdowns last year. Could be worth a flyer if you're desperate. Don't know why you're desperate in week 1, but some of you are more desperate than others. Maybe you're down by a bunch of points and you need to shoot for the moon. Rashad Bateman might get a 40-yard touchdown. And you can start Mark Andrews with Isaiah Likely most likely out. I think Andrews is going to be good. I have a feeling they're going to be trying to get him a touchdown. make up for last year. Not really make up, but get the year started on the right foot. You know what I mean? Moving on to Buffalo. Fantasy football outlook for the Buffalo Bills. You're starting Josh Allen every single week he's healthy. One of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback for fantasy football. James Cook is a solid start this week. Again, highest over-under of the week. I want pieces of this game. It's not a good matchup though. Ravens are really, really good against the running back position. Moving on to the wide receivers. Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman are both questionable flex. Not the worst matchup in the world, but I just don't know how the split's gonna go. It's pretty up in the air, to be honest with you. And Dalton Kincaid is worth the flyer in the highest scoring over-under of the week. If not now, win, right? I prefer to not play their defense. Ravens are the Ravens. On to the next game. The Minnesota Vikings head to Chicago to play the Bears. 8:15 Monday night. Monday Night Football division matchup. I like that. It's a coin flip. Give me the home team. I will take the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams should be taking a step forward versus JJ McCarthy, a rookie, basically a rookie. He's technically a sophomore, but hasn't played any games. Justin Jefferson coming off of a hamstring injury. I think that the Bears win this one at home. All right, let's talk fantasy. Fantasy football outlook for the Chicago Bears. You can play Caleb Williams, but I prefer not to personally. I have a middle of the pack up against the Minnesota Vikings defense that's really good against the quarterback position. DeAndre Swift comes in as a flex play for me this week. Minnesota Vikings defense is good, but I think Swift should return high flex value. Moving on to wide receivers. DJ Moore is a solid start for me. Got him as a low-end wide receiver too. The Vikings don't scare me in regards to the wide receiver position as much as it does the running back, so I do think that he can get a little work there. I'm tracking Roman Doomsday as a questionable flex with upside. I can see him being a solid flex as well. He's right outside the flex. I could throw him in flex with like half a point. I'm not excited about starting Colston Loveland. I just dropped him for Hunter Henry, honestly. Moving on to the Vikings. Minnesota Vikings fantasy football outlook. I'm not trying to start JJ McCarthy. Chicago was really good against the quarterback position last year. I'm not starting him in his first start, sorry. Could he be okay? Yeah, I do think he could be solid. He's got weapons everywhere. But week one, you probably don't need to start him. You probably picked up somebody else, right? Aaron Jones is a solid start this week going up against Chicago. Their run defense wasn't as elite as their pass defense, so I think they get some work done on the ground. I have Jordan Mason as a questionable flex. I prefer not to have to start him, but I do think that he gets some work done in this game. My guess is they're close to a 50-50 split, but I'm definitely going to be monitoring the splits for this matchup. Who's getting goal line, who's getting receptions, stuff like that. Curious to see how these two split the work. Moving on to wide receivers. Justin Jefferson is obviously a must start every single week. Don't know what else to tell you on that one. If Justin Jefferson plays, you play him every week, obviously. I'm also tracking Adam Thielen as a questionable flex. I don't know why you would have to start Adam Thielen, but I do think that they're going to have some receivers to throw it to. And he used to play on the Vikings. Now he's back on the Vikings. I think they can get him a little bit of work. And TJ Hawkinson is, of course, a must start every week. I'm also starting the Vikings defense. Whew, that was a lot to go over. I will be doing this video a lot further in advance next time. I wasn't expecting to do all this, but I had an idea. Now I'm hoping that y'all like it. So let me know whether or not you liked the format or not of this. The video's not over yet, but I just wanted to say that because I've been recording for like, I don't even know, man, all day today. I expected to be recording for like 2 hours. This has lasted all day, plus the research and all that. But whatever, doesn't matter. I am excited to get this to you, but let me give you a quick recap on the running backs and wide receivers tiers that I set up. Let's bring back Jeffrey. Welcome back, Jeffrey.
Good to be back, sir.
All right, let's run through those tiers. Week 1 wide receiver tiers. Tier 1 must starts.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Puka Nakua, Brian Thomas Jr., Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, Jackson Smith and Jigba,
solid start receivers.
Tete Roa Macmillan, Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Terry McLaurin, Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore,
Wide receiver flexes.
DK Metcalf, Emeka Egbuka, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Jameson Williams, Travis Hunter, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, Ricky Pearsall, Jacoby Myers, Cooper Kupp, Rome Odunze,
Questionable flex plays.
Jalwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Wandale Robinson, Stephon Diggs, Khalil Shakir, Matthew Golden,
Romeo Doubs,
Darnell Mooney,
Cedric Tillman,
Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Rashad Bateman, Keon Coleman, Rashid Shaheed, Xavier Legette, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins, Adam Thielen.
Whew, that is a lot of receivers. Moving on to running backs. Week 1 PPR running back tiers. Tier 1 must starts.
Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Ashton Jeanty,
Solid starts.
Kyron Williams, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Kenneth Walker III, Chuba Hubbard, James Cook, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, Treveon Henderson,
Flex plays.
Jalen Warren, Austin Eckler, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, R.J. Harvey, David Montgomery, Jerome Ford, Tyrone Tracy Jr., Travis Etienne Jr., Ramondre Stevenson,
Questionable flexes.
Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, Jordan Mason, Rashad White,
Jacoby Crosby Merritt,
Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson, Tyler Allgeier, Rico Dowdle, Scott Debo, Brian Robinson, Nick Chubb, Damian Pierce.
Whew, that was a lot of running backs. All right, now let's go through Pick'em summary. Every game against the spread, starting with Bucks at Falcons. Bucks are 1.5 point favorites. Give me the Buccaneers in this one. Bengals at Browns. Bengals are 5.5 point favorites. Give me the Browns and the points. Dolphins at Colts. It's a pick'em. Give me the Dolphins in this one. Raiders at Patriots. Patriots are 3.5 point favorites. I'll take the Raiders. Cardinals at Saints. Cardinals are 3.5 point favorites. Cardinals cover the 3.5. Steelers at Jets. Steelers are 2.5 point favorites. Taking the Steelers in this one. Aaron Rodgers, you better not get embarrassed by your previous team. Giants at Commanders. Commanders are 6.5 point favorites. Give me the Giants in this one. 6.5 points, too many points for a divisional matchup with a team with a good defense. Panthers at Jaguars. Jaguars are 2.5 point favorites. Give me the Jags in this one. Number 1 seeds going at each other. Didn't think they'd be this low in the standings, but I think it's a good game. Steelers at Broncos. Broncos are 6.5 point favorites. Give me the Broncos to cover. The defense is too elite. You're going up against a rookie quarterback on the road in Mile High. 49ers at Seahawks. 49ers are 1.5 point favorite. Give me the 49ers as long as Christian McCaffrey plays. If he doesn't play, go Seahawks. Lions at Packers. It's a pick'em. Give me the Packers at home. Hoping that Micah Parsons plays. I think this team has more continuity than switching over your offensive and defensive coordinators. Should be a good game, though. Texans at Rams. Rams are 2.5 point favorites. Give me the Rams at home. Happy that it's not more than a field goal. 2 good defenses. Houston's bad offensive line is going to hurt them. Ravens at Bills. Bills are 1.5 point favorites. Give me the Ravens in this one. The last 2 MVPs facing off against each other. Lamar Jackson needs his get back. Vikings at Bears. It's a pick'em. Give me the Bears in this one at home. Going up against a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. I think that the Bears start off with a dub. That's the pick'em summary. All right, one last thing. This video is going to be like 5 hours long. I pick one team every week to win the game, and this week I chose the Denver Broncos. They are huge favorites. You got one of the best defenses in the league at home going up against the Tennessee Titans, starting a rookie quarterback. Broncos should win this one fairly easily, and even if they don't cover the spread, all I need is a dub. Woo! So that's gonna do it. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'm gonna try to go live Sunday morning. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell down below. If you have any questions, hit me up. It's week 1. Time to make some hard decisions and get that dub. I'll see you soon, BAL Nation. Peace.